let's go ahead and get started with 2.4. It's actually almost a continuation of what we're doing here. And in your OpenStax ebook, they mention quartiles in 2.3 and 2.4. So that's why I have it split up here. But now we're emphasizing what is called the 5-number summary. So that will be a little bit different. The quartile range, we already mentioned that in the previous section. And then part 2 is actually a way of graphing this quartiles, plotting this quartiles, represented in the graphical form. So here, this example, it says each year in the US, automobile commuters waste fuel due to traffic congestion. The amounts in gallons per year of fuel wasted by commuters in the 15 largest US urban areas are listed. Find the first, second, and third quartile of the data. What do you observe? I'm gonna add here, because that's something that we have in our objectives. Actually find the 5-number summary. It's similar to what they're asking you there, but it goes a little bit beyond. Okay, so the first thing we do is we order the data. Okay, there is no way around it, so we have to order the data. It's still few enough that I don't have to necessarily do it by hand. So when I order it, I have 11, 20, 22, 23, 24. There are 3 25s, 28, 2 29s, 30, 33, 35, and 35. And it already told us that there are 15 15 entries. So we ordered the data first in ascending order from the smallest to the largest. Okay, so since we have an odd number, then that means in the middle, I will have 7 values on one side, 7 values on the other side. And right here in the middle is my Q2, or median. Then I actually have 7 values here. It's still odd. So this 23 will be my Q1. And halfway here, 30 will be my Q3. So you might be thinking nothing is different, but the 5-number summary goes a little bit beyond, and it finds the minimum, well, once you order it, the minimum will be the first one, so that's 11. It finds the maximum. Again, it's already ordered, so the maximum is 35. Even if it's repeated, it's still 35. Then you have in between, you have your Q1, which is 23. You have your Q2, which, by the way, remember, is called the median. And that's going to be 25. And then we have the Q3, which is 30. This is what we call the 5-number summary. I also mentioned the interquartile range. So that's something we've done before. Or just IR. that is always Q3 minus Q1. So in this case, we will take 30 minus 23, and IR, the IR is a 7. Now, I am not saying that we have to necessarily put it into the calculator to do this. But there are times when putting this information into the calculator will save you time, and the calculator will find this for you. So if you look at the next example, it's a little bit more, I mean, that has, I say 20 entries. So I'm gonna actually, it's not that we cannot do it by hand, but I wanna show you, I'm actually for using the calculator. How many times haven't I missed a value when I'm trying to order even fewer than that, okay? So let's enter the data. This would be the first thing we do. We enter data in L1. And remember, that is stat edit. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to the calculator. So I'm going to go to stat, press 1 for edit. And I have something here from another problem. So I'm going to clear my list. Move the cursor to L1, clear, and enter. And I'm going to enter the data. So I have 40, enter, 52, enter, 36, enter, 45, enter, 41, 37, 40, 46, 43, 38. Always double check, especially after a certain number of values. Now I'm in the second row, 34, 54, 43, 36, 15, 52, 39, 50, 30, and 29. And I have 20 entries. I see that L1 and 20. That means I have, that's the 20th entry. Okay, so we've done that. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually sort the data. Order. And we want actually sort A from the smallest to the largest. So that will be stat. And here, this was really choice number 1. It's stat is still edit, but it's going to be choice number 2. That says sort A. I just wanted you to have that in your notes. We've done that before. So I'm going to go here to the calculator. We enter the data. So we go back to stat. Still under the edit menu, but choice number 2. But the calculator asks you what you're sorting. So you want to tell the calculator that you're sorting L1. So remember, your lists are in the keys 1 through 6, but under the second key. So second and 1, close the parentheses there, press enter. And it's done. You won't be able to see it until you go here. Go back to edit and 1, but it's sorted, okay? And if you scroll up and you scroll all the way down, you can see that the minimum is 15, and probably will be easier if I go up, and the maximum is 54. But what I'm saying is the calculator calculates this as well as the quartiles. So this is different. This will be stat calculate. And I'm going to actually write that down here. Stat calc. I'm going to underline that because it's the first time that we use that. So let me show you how you get to that. Still stat, but you move with your arrows to calc, and you want choice number 1. And I want you to write this down so you have it there. Choice number 1 that says one variable statistics. But you're going to choose that one variable statistics. So you have entered the data, you have sorted the data just because you wanted to see it. And then even if it wasn't sorted, the calculator will do this. Once you have the data, but you move to calculate, press 1 or enter. Your data is in list 1. There's nothing you can do, but that frequency list should be blank. Do any of you have anything in there? If you did, you would just clear that. Now you go to the word calculate. And this is a lot more than you actually need, but you see that Q1 showing there and the arrow. If you scroll down, you have everything you need. It tells you the minimum value is 15. The Q1 is 36. The Q2 is so important as a median that they don't say that you have Q2. It says the median is 40, but that's your Q2. Your Q3 is 45.5, and your maximum is 54. And it would have done this even without the data being sorted. Okay, so one thing that I want you to later on, we might use that frequency. So write yourself a note here. That frequency in this right here, frequency must be blank. But now we have our 5-point summary. That is, the minimum was 15. The Q1 was 36. The Q2 or median was actually 40. The Q3 was 45.5. And then my maximum was 54. That's the 5-number summary. So the next part, which is the box plots, is actually graphing this data, but it doesn't use a horizontal axis and a vertical axis. It only uses a number line. So this is actually already the box plot, or sometimes they call it whisker plot box for this problem. Okay, so when you see your 5-number summary, you see 11 through 35. I don't know that we have steady increments all throughout, but I want to make sure I divide the number line so that it includes 11 and it includes 35. So notice that the number line is actually divided every 5 units. I could have started with just the 10. So you have 5, 10, 15, and so on. Then you have 11. Remember, that was your minimum. And it's this point here. 35 was your maximum. 23 was your Q1. 25 was actually your Q2 or median. and then 30 was your Q3. In the box that you see there is between the Q1 and the Q3. You know what that box represents right there? That's your IR. And it has a box all around it, but it also has the median kind of here in the middle. The median is not halfway between the interquartile range. It's halfway between actually the data that you have. So what I want us to do is I want us to draw one for this one from scratch. So it goes from 15 to 54. Those are your lowest values. So you could go start with 15 here and go all the way to 55 if you're using increments of 5. So this will be 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and 55. So above, you have a point on 15 because it's actually your minimum. And you have not exactly a point on 55, but a little bit to the left. This will be my minimum, and this will be my maximum. Then you have a Q1 of 35, a Q2 of, what was that? 40. And then you have a Q3 of 45.5, so it's a little bit off. And I made that too low here, so let me make them bigger. So that's a line. They're all on a line. But the IR is only between the Q1 and the Q3. So I'm going to label those, and this is Q1, Q2, and this is Q3, and there is your box. I'm going to shade it a little bit. And this is the interquartile range. And I don't know that we found the interquartile range from that for that last example. Yeah, I don't think I did, but you can always take the Q3 minus Q1, and that's going to give you 45.5 minus 35, and then that would be 10.5. They call it that whisker box because the little two antennas are like the whiskers of a cat, except that they're not the same. So they call it box plots in Sophia. Sometimes they mention a whisker box plot in your book. So this is assignment number 8, and that is also due on Thursday. I will change the due dates for everything else to be for later.